Coming up on the scoop, Kathy Vines of Clever Girl Organizing shows us how to make your home office space better. We also talk about yabba dabba do time. You won't want to miss it. Next on the scoop. Hey everybody, how you doing? Bill Butler here with another thrilling, exciting, amazing edition of the Melrose Scoop. I'm here with Kathy Vines of Clever Girl Organizing. Kathy, hey, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Well, we really appreciate you joining us here. First of all, just how's everybody at home? Everybody healthy and safe and doing okay?
Yeah, thanks for asking. We're doing okay, and we're what are we, week 4 into kind of both my husband and I coexisting at home and finding our rhythm and finding our grace and getting through it, and we're very fortunate.
Good, good, great. Well, I appreciate you joining us. Wanted to kind of introduce you for those who aren't familiar with you and your service.
Thanks so much. I started my business 7 years ago, Clever Girl Organizing, and I'm a professional organizer, a certified professional organizer, actually, which is a distinction of only about 5% of the folks in my industry, and a productivity specialist. And I work with people in their homes and small businesses to help them get organized and get the most effective and productive use of their time and their energy and their money out of what their assets really are. And I kind of specialize in helping people untangle the relationship to their stuff, help them think through what their barriers have been to holding on to some things or not being able to let go as quickly as they might with other things. My book is all about the different psychological and emotional barriers people face when trying to let things go, like I might need it someday, or I paid good money for this, or this is still good, right? That thing you pick up and you're like, oh, well, why would I get rid of this? This is still good. And then you just put it down because you gave yourself a good reason to keep it. So I help people kind of challenge themselves to think through some of those answers and say, what are your goals for this space, and how valuable is that to your life right now as opposed to what it was in the past? Or are you just afraid about what it means to not have it in the future? Well, what would that really mean for you to let go of it? What would you do if you needed that in the future, but you would let go of it? So I really partner with folks around decluttering. And then once we've made those decisions, I love being able to work in somebody's space to figure out how to make it work better for them, whether that's workflow or the best way to store things, systems that have to work for the house when you're not just living at your home, right? It might work for the one spouse, but really doesn't work for the other spouse, and navigating through figuring out how to retool some of those systems.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you've kind of hit on a lot of points that sound awfully familiar in the Butler household here. It's that Elvis costume that just I mean, I know I'm going to need it at some point. I'm not letting go of that thing. Right. Uh,
Nobody's messing you. Listen, if you got the room and nobody's threatening to divorce you over it,
right.
you can make that work.
There's the operative right there. Yeah. No, that's great. So when we originally talked, you said you're doing a lot of these in person in the Melrose area, of course, but you're also doing this virtually
Yeah.
overseas. So as we're kind of now in a virtual service world right now, that's not new to you.
No, it's not. I started my virtual organizing business about 5 years ago. There was a woman who followed my blog religiously, and she had participated in some of my annual Clever Girl organizing challenges. And she had reached out and said, I would love to work with you if only you live near me. And she lived in England. And I said, I bet we could kind of figure out a different way at this. And we started what in my industry is called virtual organizing, where we're just through the screen strategizing, same thing I just talked about, right? Strategizing about what's in her space, what are their challenges, coming up with a plan, creating accountability and a homework plan, sharing pictures, for updates. And with the exception of me being in the room with her and physically being able to do it together, she's able to really execute on all of her goals over time. And so that was a great way for me to launch this. So I've been doing virtual organizing with people. Again, I have a following in all over the country, and people will reach out. It's a wonderful way for me to help people who already kind of know and trust me through what they've experienced with me, so to be able to help them this way. And so it's a little weird that my clients here in Melrose I'm doing that with, right? I could walk to your house, but today I'm not walking to your house, right? So being able to say, instead of like a 3 or 4 hour session we might do together if I were in your space, this is probably an hour, and then you're probably doing another hour's worth of work either immediately after we hang up or later on that day. And we're breaking down the tasks and we're breaking down the projects into things that are meaningful, and I'm helping them think through what I can see might be coming up as a barrier so that they have a plan when that comes up for them. So whether it's as simple as, okay, you're going to be going through your closet to declutter or going through this room, where are you going to put those things that you know you're going to earmark as donations, but right now nobody's taking donations? Where are those going to stay in your house until then? Or you're working on a project. All right, what's your workspace going to look like? I'm helping them think through things that if I were in the room with them, I just, we'd make it happen a little bit more. Again, kind of dive in and get it done. But here I'm helping people come up with a strategy, and a lot of my clients, quite frankly, they'll do the work while we're just on video together. I'm in the room with them. They're doing the work. They'll ask me about things, or we'll chat as if, from a social aspect, we'll just chat as we go, because they know that keeping an appointment with me helps them focus and helps them stay committed to the goal they have of making some of this change happen. It's like going to the gym with a trainer versus not working with a trainer. I'm like the trainer in the scenario. You're going to actually go, and you're actually going to work hard because you've got this appointment with me.
Yeah, accountability is a big part of that for sure. Yeah, absolutely. Make for the success. That's great. So obviously, a lot of people are now working from home right now. And what would be some kind of steps to take that you're sharing with folks on setting up that at-home work space?
I think we're in this unusual time, right? So we're not talking about designing what your ideal home office look like if you were starting from scratch and you had all the ability in the world to get it done, right? There are a lot of people who the first few weeks since working from home are, just made it happen on the kitchen table, the kitchen counter, but they're struggling. And so I want to start helping people think about a different way to approach it, or some things they can add to their strategy that they've been putting in place so far. Space and where you're working, first of all, is the primary spot you need to solve, right? And some of my clients are converting closets in their house. So, they can throw clothes somewhere else, but if they have a closet, especially something with doors, or they can do it, they can actually set up a little desk in there, a little table, and have a space. And also kind of important to have a space that at the end of the day they can kind of close up, and it's not really in the middle of their community, of their common space.
Mhm.
Being able to have a corner of a room, but yet you have to do video conferencing with, right? So that can be a little bit challenge. One of my clients, and I shared this on my Facebook page yesterday, one of my clients, they carved out an area in their home and hung up a shower curtain with command hooks above them as a backdrop. And the shower curtain looks like a rustic wall with Edison lighting and greenery. You wouldn't even believe this was a shower curtain. It looked completely real. But having to be a little creative about your immediate space to address your primary needs, right? You need a clear workspace. You probably need good internet and good lighting, and being able, if you need this privacy or you need something for all this video work going on, and if you can't do virtual backgrounds or something else like that, you got to be a little bit creative.
Mhm.
I think another part beyond space is thinking about your schedule. And while scheduling is really important for any of us, all ways to get through our work. Right now, we're in such a completely different space because some people are also trying to balance, at home learning for their kids. They're really just have a lot more complexity. You think, oh, work from home is going to be great because you're cutting off that commute. But I know lots of people who say, yeah, well, actually, I'm just working those extra hours that I would have been when I was commuting. And what I'm hearing a lot is people saying, I sit down to start working, and all of a sudden it's lunchtime and the morning blurred by. And so, what I'm encouraging people to do is set a little timer for themselves at about 90 minutes or 2 hours, and setting these up as little chapters of their day where maybe one of those chapters they actually don't have email on and they can really focus on doing some catch up or some quiet projects that they really need to get off their plate, because otherwise they might feel like they're in reactive mode. Or being able to say, you know what, I am going to take a physical break every 90 minutes or 2 hours. Get up out of those chairs. Most of us aren't sitting in those great chairs we have in the office that our employers bought for us. We're sitting in kitchen chairs. Like, this isn't great for our bodies. So thinking about how you're using your schedule and your plan to be able to make sure you're also taking care of some self-care. I think it's really important also to set an intention in the beginning of your day. What is my clock out time? My husband and I refer to it as yabba dabba do time, right? So when is he going to scoot down the tail of the brontosaurus and be like, hey, what time is yabba dabba do? Because he can get so lost in it. And after all, he doesn't have to run to take it. He doesn't have to catch a train. So what else is going to keep him in his office all day? So being able to set some boundaries around your time, I think, is really important for people to help kind of sustain.
Those are great strategies. Absolutely. Thanks for sharing.
Mm.
Um, if someone would like to know more or get in contact with you about, kind of diving deeper on this or some other home projects, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
Oh, thanks for asking that. Clevergirlorganizing.com is my website, and you can pretty much find me on Instagram and Twitter under the same area. I also post a lot inside the Melrose Community Facebook group, and so some people might know my name, Kathy Vines, from there. But I do offer free consultations, 20-minute free consultations for anybody who wants to talk through what they're looking at and whether or not working together might be a good fit for them. And again, I am doing this virtual organizing, which is amazing for people to kind of try me out here to help them kind of get through just this time. And if they decide, gosh, once we're all able to get back in people's houses again, say like upgrade to getting an in-person session, I am offering a free hour for anybody who books into the future if they've started with me in a virtual session. So if they book a 3-hour session with me in person in the future, they'll get a fourth hour free.
Oh, great. Fantastic. Well, that sounds amazing. Hey, thank you so much for joining us, Kathy. Really appreciate it. Some really good tips and strategies that you offered here. And if anyone has any other questions, please feel free to dial into clevergirlorganizing.com or all the other social media channels as well. Thank you so much for joining us, Kathy.
Thanks so much. And I really appreciate you tapping into the kind of at-home businesses here in Melrose. We all know kind of the physical retail space, brick and mortar buildings, but there's so many of us who have really important at-home businesses that we do out of our own home. And I'm so grateful that you're helping shine a light on that. Thank you.
Absolutely. It's my absolute pleasure for sure. Great. Well, thanks so much, Kathy. Hey, everyone, thanks so much for watching. We will see you next time. Take care. Bye.